Okay, Rabbi Sai, welcome to another Tuesday night shiur. Zirkle, you have to smile for me. If you don't smile, I can't start. That's it. That's what I mean. Okay, so we spoke 5 minutes ago before someone closed the recording and turned it back on that what I'm about to tell you is more delicious than Shake Shack. I don't know what Shake Shack is, but you said it tastes good. Somebody. It's a cheeseburger. What I'm about to tell you is more delicious than a cheeseburger. I never had cheeseburger, but since you said it, I'm telling you it's better than that. Now we're going to make a vote. You ready? Very few people know how to do this, actually. Here's the vote. Do you want to hear a topic strictly just for men? Or do you want something universal? If you want universal, raise your hand. Your right or your left hand, no other hands. If you want something that's just for guys, raise your hand. Wow.
It's all guys.
Got me in trouble. Mausi. Okay, we'll speak about it. Lamalo. Now, whoever's watching, if you're not a man, turn it off. If you're already a married woman, you can watch it. Okay. In this week's parasha, we have the most crucial avera for man. And I'm about to tell you what it is, and I'm very happy that you guys said that you want this topic, because for this topic I'm pretty prepared. It's called Zera Levatala. I'm going to try to speak as clean as possible, but if necessary I will use a language that is mostly understood by everybody. Wasting seed. And in the ghetto language it's called jerking off. Anyone that didn't understand. Today we're gonna dissect this topic. Number one, there's no girls here, so the men voted. And number two, because we have to understand and come to a realization, where is this sin located in the Torah? Where is it located? That's number one. Number two, what is the cause of this sin? We're gonna dissect it. We will. And number 3 and 4, how to cure it from the inside. You ready? Now, this is my first time speaking about this topic in public, especially recorded. I never spoke about this topic recorded, at least not to my knowledge. And I'm going to again try to be as, maybe a different kind of view you'll get out of it. And this is something that my Rebbeim spoke to me about. It was actually in New Square when one of my Rebbeim came to me and he said, read this and read this and read this from different Sfarim. And whatever I'm telling you, I'm not going to tell you to read it because I don't know if you would understand it. But my Rebbe was trying to give me a hint how to look at this Avera. And really about any Avera. We see this story, very interesting story. In this week's parasha, we see that Yosef HaTzadik, the Torah says that he was the favorite child of Yaakov Avinu, and he went and he had 2 dreams. Just to run through of the parasha, he had 2 dreams, and he tells his brothers, as a 17-year-old would, 16, 17, he's excited, he's reaching manlyhood, and his brother hated him, his brothers, to the point that they hated him when he went to visit them, because his father told them to visit them. Why they hated him. Really, I wanted to talk about why they hated him. Because he said Lashon Hara. But you told me not to speak about this topic. I'm speaking about a different topic today. And his brothers come. Shimon and Levi, 2 hotheads, people that have kas. And they said, listen, who's this 17-year-old? There's always that one kid in school. Who's this kid? Let's just slaughter him and call it a day. Why do we need this headache, Why do we need this headache? Kill him! 1, 2, 3, no? There's always that one kid in school that everyone wants to strangle to death, right? But let's just take care of him and call it a day. And that's what actually happened. Shimon and Levi, they grabbed him. They were about to kill him. And Reuven says, listen, you want your brother's blood to be on your head? What's wrong with you? there's a pit. Throw him in the pit, and he'll die over there. You didn't do anything. You just pushed him. He just fell. Oops, it was a slip. Reuven left. When Reuven left, Yehuda was a businessman, like good Jews, and he said, listen, why should he die? We can make money off this guy. Why not? Money's good. Let's take him and let's sell him. They pulled him out, he got happy, and suddenly what do they see? They're selling him for silver coins. I think it was 20 silver coins, 22 silver coins. They took him, they sold him. They took his coat, which was colorful, and they go to their father, which is another thing. Amazing. They go to their father, and they had the audacity to say, do you recognize this coat? A white lie. Do you recognize the coat? And Yaakov Avinu burst in tears and cried, my son, my son, my son. And this time, Yosef HaTzadik ended up in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. I know everyone knows the story, but it's good to get a refresher. And he gets sold. By who? Potiphar. Potiphar means a butcher. But you know what kind of butcher he was? He used to slice people's heads off. Interesting butcher. He was the head executioner for Paro. Nice job, no? But there was a problem. What was the problem? He liked men. He liked men.
Who did?
Potiphar. But he was married too. Why? Because in Egypt, to get status, you have to be married. Now, husband and wife had one common denominator. They both fell in love with who? Yosef. Imagine being in the house a slave and have both the master and his wife loving you. That's crazy, no? But that's what Yosef was going through. In one hand, his master wanted to seduce him. In the other hand, his master's wife wanted to seduce him. To the extent she used to change her clothes 3 times a day. Can you imagine such a thing? Can you imagine such a thing? A woman changes for a guy 3 times a day. And long story short, he almost was with her, and he was saved by the thought. There's a not a machlokes, but there's a midrash that he was thinking about his father. Some say he was thinking about his mother. Whatever the case is, he was thinking about somebody. And he got up and he didn't at the end do the sin. Physically didn't do the sin. And he was sent to jail. And in jail he prospered. Imagine wherever you go, you prosper. This is the rundown of the parasha. I just missed one part of the Torah, which is Aliyah Revi'it, which this is what we're going to dissect today. In Aliyah Revi'it, we see a story of Yehuda. Interesting story. Yehuda. Who comes out of Yehuda? Does anyone know? Mashiach. All the way from Navai. Mashiach comes out from Shevet who? Yehuda. And let's dissect the story. Yehuda decides to get married to who? To a woman of the Canaanites. And he gets married and he has 3 kids. Er, which is his eldest. Onan, which is his middle child. And Sheila, which is the youngest child. Er and Onan and Sheila, imagine being from a royal blood. How do you have to represent yourself? You should know, you all come from royal blood. You come from Abraham, Isaac, Yaakov. Imagine how you have to represent yourself. Just imagine. When you walk on the street, a goy knows you're a Yid. A goy doesn't say he's a goy, he says he's a Yid. He's a Jew. Yehuda makes a shidduch. See, maybe if there was a resume, none of these problems would have happened. He says who? He takes Tamar. Tamar was from the daughters of Shem. And Tamar was a very beautiful woman. Extremely beautiful. And Yehuda made the shidduch for his eldest son, Er. Er marries her. And at the night of the wedding, what does he do? He does what not every chas shalom, but it's a common thing. I want you to understand what I'm about to tell you. I'm going to modernize it. How we still do this sin nowadays. He would be with his wife without finishing. He would finish on the floor. Everyone use your imagination. I don't want to get into it. He would be physically with his wife and finish on the floor. Why? He didn't want his wife to get pregnant. Why? Because if she gets pregnant, she's going to lose her beauty. And just because he didn't want for her to lose her beauty, he decided to do the most ultimate sin. And he was married. To do zera levatala. As soon as a girl comes, I'm changing the topic. I'm letting you this right now. So you better pray in your brain that this topic doesn't change. Fire cut review. Now, what happens? Can we take this mechitza out if no one's here? Get it out of here. I want to see Eliyahu's face. I want to see Daniel, right? Yonathan's face. Look at him. He's wearing those boots. He's running to go hunt somebody or something. You're too scary. You're too serious. Don't worry, it's all guys. Take it easy. Malchitz. So what happens? He dies. Hashem curses him and kills him. Wow. Wow. Imagine the night of your wedding. What happens to you the next day? Bye-bye. Salamat, ya habibi. For all those men and all those women that use birth control right after they get married, or even after they get married years ahead, and they don't ask a Rav for paskening la'alacha if they're allowed to use it, they're doing the same avera of Er. The same thing. Can you imagine? A person, one second, questions later, please. If you break my thing right now, I'm not gonna be happy. A person has to realize the one of the most important reasons why you came on this earth was to procreate. When a person takes his potential of procreation and puts it on the floor, that means he bashes it, he belittles it, you're doing the opposite of what Hashem created the world for. Let's see what his brother did. His brother, there's a mitzvah of yibum. What's yibum? If your brother, chasham, not anyone, if a person gets married and he doesn't have kids and he passes away, his brother has the obligation, min Torah, to marry his sister-in-law. She becomes his wife automatically. No ketubah, no nothing. She just walks into the room, they have yichud, and that's it. They're married. There is no party, there is no at mikudeshet, none of that. He said, I'm not going to do what my brother did. I'm going to actually do it myself. I'm going to look at her and I'm going to do zer levatala. And you know what happened? He died. He died. Hashem said, you want to go in your brother's footsteps. You see, this is the biggest proof when people say, if I see God in His miracles, I also will become a tzaddik. Er and Onan didn't think that way. Your brother just died. He just died. You're doing the same thing? Where's your head? How can you redo the same sin your brother just did? When a person does zera levatala, he ruins his mazal. He ruins his parnasah. And today I'm going to explain to you how. When a person goes to shul on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, What's the famous thing everyone prays for, including myself? We pray for Parnasa. Sharei Parnasa is the biggest amen in the shul. You feel the roar. I don't think even Mashiach shofar is going to be as loud as when people say Sharei Parnasa and everyone says amen. Hashem says, listen, let's take a person. Is anyone's name Abraham over here? No. Abraham, you're supposed to get today, this year, $6 million is your parnasa. And what's this parnasa for? You have to support your wife, you have to support your kids, and so on and so forth. Now, you know, every time you do Zera Lavatala, you have to support those kids too. What do you think? You think it's a joke over here? They're your kids. You know, they come to you after you die, they say, hi daddy, I've been waiting for you. Have you been? And you know how ugly they look? Imagine taking the most ugliest and scariest image to the power of 1 billion. Hi Papa, we have your genes. Only your genes. I want you to understand this. I want you to understand the concept of what you're doing at that moment. You have to support them. And it's not one child per Ezer Lavatala. You're funny. It's millions. It's millions! So when a person barely makes a living and he goes, why? I pray Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Of course. You're a good father. You're supporting a lot of kids without even knowing it. You know how many kids you're supporting? Millions! And in Shamayim, they're taking all your shefa from you. Every single shefa before it comes down to this earth has to go through a pipeline. And they're like beggars. Where's the money? Where's the shefa? Where's my parnasa? We also need clothes. We also need food. Where is it? And until a person doesn't do tshuva, these kids will hunt him for the rest of his life. Hunt him. Just for a side note, Tikkun Klali doesn't work for this. Tikkun Klali works for one thing and one thing only. If someone has a wet dream, a nightly admission, that means he goes to sleep and he wakes up and he has zera. Rav Nachman Breslov, you go to a mikvah that day and you read Tikkun Klali that day, and that he says, and he has a whole cheshbon, that it's going to be taken care of. But if someone goes, one second, when someone goes purposely and does the avera, that's on you, ya habibi. Don't now say Rav Nachman right now, don't grow your peot from here to the floor, he's going to pull me out. He's not going to pull nobody. Your peot is going to be burned. You're not going to be able to carry you out from anywhere, ya habibi. From anywhere. Just for you to understand the severity of this sin. Now, how do we fix this? It's a good question, right? How do I fix the situation? How do I fix the situation of doing the ultimate sin of Zer Levatala? Now, I want to explain something to you. If you think, wait, ask your question because I'm going to go into something different.
What happens if you have a wet dream on Yom Kippur?
Please don't ask that question right now. Come to me privately. I'll tell you what you have to do. The Ben Ish Chai has a whole tikkun just for that. It's a very dangerous thing. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying that's a very dangerous thing.
That's all right.
Okay. Plus there is no mikvah in Yom Kippur, so it's a double danger. Okay, let's not get into that topic. There's a concept of Zer Levatala fall under the category for a woman. Don't answer. And the answer is yes. When a woman walks outside, not sanua, or when you, God forbid, seek this stuff, you're a bal choteh u'machti et rabbi. You're a person that causes other people to sin. But Rabbi, I want to look attractive. I want to look beautiful. So go to the zoo. We'll create a whole section for you and call it the humans. You know how there's the apes, the monkeys, and then there's the mice. When you go to the Bronx Zoo, we'll do the humans too. Whole bunch of naked people walking around. If you want to look attractive. Hashem didn't give beauty for people for you to show it off. He gave you beauty for you actually to conceal it, to keep it private. When something is beautiful, you don't hand it out like a garbage. Something that's valuable, you keep it in the safe. Someone one time told me, the greatest investment is a watch. I said, why? He said, because not only does it have value, you can also show it off on your wrist. Until someone chops it off and takes it away. Until you be an idiot and you want to show off to the world. And then what? And then you're not satisfied, you have to get something better. Until you get sick of that, then you want to get something even more better. Now, how do we take this? How do we kill these kids? We have to kill them. It's not a joke. You guys are laughing. So the Rav Asher Gadaev came out with the key of all keys. I know it's funny. You have to kill your own kids, right? Which I think everyone today should be makpid from now on. They should promise themselves this is the mitzvah that they pick upon themselves from now on till the rest of their life. Ask your question before I get into it.
But they're not technically our kids, they're off, right? No?
I'm not understanding your question.
Well, you said we have to kill
God forbid. Let's say there's an Avram, right? And he has a kid with a woman. And he takes this kid and he puts it in a foster care home. Is that his kid?
Yeah.
But it's not his kid.
Well, if he's alive, then he's alive, but...
So what makes something alive?
When it breathes air. Or when it's like being generated.
I don't think a life has to do with air. I think a life has to do with being able to still have an existence on the planet Earth. And I'll give you an example. Avraham, Isaac, Yaakov, are they alive? According to your theory.
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
No.
No. Why are they not alive? They're not breathing air, right? I think they are alive. And I have a proof to it. The fact that I mention them every single day, 3 times a day, they're more alive most probably than 90% of people walking on planet Earth. Life comes with a remembrance. Life comes with something that you can carry on. That's why, according to some people, a person that doesn't write his Chidushei Torah, he doesn't write his book, doesn't write his thoughts, he will one day be forgotten forever. Why? Because he didn't leave anything. That's why a person that doesn't have kids should be very much makpid to start writing his Chidushei Torah. Because no matter what happens, he will always be remembered. The yortzeit of the Bat Ayin was a couple of weeks ago. The Bat Ayin had no kids. Now in every shul they do Hilulah for him. Who is he? What is he? Most people don't even know. He was a Hasidic Rebbe that wrote a book. And they study his Torah and he was always remembered. So not necessarily does life have to do with that. Now you can ask a good question. These kids, they're not alive. No one remembers them. No one even knows who they are. But they damage you. Every second that you're breathing on this earth and you have something bad going on in your life, it's a lot of it has to do with the fact that you just, not you, but a person is connected through the sin of Zer Levatala. Now, how do we kill these Zer Levatalas? How do we kill these Neshamot? The Rav Asher Gadaev says something amazing. Amazing. When a person says Kriyat Shema al Mita, simple sentence, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, before he goes to sleep, he has the ability to kill these neshamot that are waiting for you to die and to harm you. So before a person goes to sleep, besides saying the whole vidui and everything, you have to think in your brain. I'm not going to tell you the kavanah because that's not important right now. But a person should think when he says echad, you have to think for a second that you are killing the kids that you have created. You have to think it in your head. You have to imagine it. You have to imagine that you have a sword in your hand, a sword specifically, as it says in the Halalukas, we read it every day. What does that mean? And a double-edged sword in your hand, and you just chopping away. what your thought process can do, sometimes your hands can't even do. With the power of your machshava, with the power of your thoughts, you can make and break worlds. You can create and destroy worlds just from your thought process. And that's why meditation is done how? Through your thoughts. When you meditate, you can reach the highest levels. It's called hitbonenut, not hitbodedut, hitbonenut. To contemplate and meditate on a concept. Ask your question.
So, like, what is there, like, meditation? There's many different ways. What are you talking about?
Okay,
in particular?
so I'm not talking about that. That's the Chayei Goyim. I'm not talking about doing the cross and saying, "Oh, Yeshua saved me," which is already in hell. I don't know who the hell they're praying to. I'm not talking about Muhammad. I'm not talking about what the Muslims pray to and how they pray to, which is all Avodah Zarah, just to let you know. Even though it's not, but it is. Their religion is based on Avodah Zarah. I'm not going to get into it. They believe in a God, but their worships are all based on Avodah Zarah. When we say meditation, we say to contemplate on God Himself, on the Ein Sof, and how we want to draw that koach, that energy from Him. And how do we do that? By serving Him. And before we serve Him, we think how we're going to serve Him. That's called meditation. Not just to wake up in the morning and wash your hands. Not just to go to the bathroom and to use it, not to contemplate it on your Asher Yatzar. Before your Asher Yatzar, you know what you have to think about? Right now, at this moment, I'm doing refuah to my whole body. By saying Asher Yatzar, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is bringing down a light that's giving me pure refuah shlamah from my head to my toe. Before you put on your talit and tefillin, you have to contemplate how you're bringing the Or Makiv, the outer light of all worlds, upon you. You should be enclosed with all the energy and light around you. When you put on your tefillin, your hand in your head, you should have a thought process that you're puring your heart and your eyes to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's called meditation. And what does this meditation do? It makes you very aware of things. You ever saw people that are unaware? They don't even know what's flying. There could be a car accident 5 feet away. You won't even realize it. I know people like that. And I know people, literally 20 minutes, not 20, 5 minutes before something bad happens, they already realize something bad's about to happen. They know it. They see what's going on. Those are people that are aware. I'll tell you a small story. One time the Lubavitch Rebbe, he was in his office, and a person left a letter by his door. And his gabbai walked in and walked out. And the Rebbe saw the letter fall on the floor. The gabbai didn't notice it. And the Rebbe went to pick it up. And the gabbai got very embarrassed. And he looked back to the Rebbe and he said, "How did you realize it?" You know what his answer was? "It's my job to realize the little things that people don't realize." What does that mean? That means he was aware and he was in full meditation from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. He was in the meditation process of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in front of me at all times. Shaviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was with me all the time. And that's the key how you stop doing Zerah Vatala. You don't stop doing Zerah Vatala by thinking about demons and how they're coming to haunt you and kill you and murder you. None of that. That doesn't make you stop. You know what makes you stop? You ever take a mirror? Can you imagine watching yourself doing that sin? You wouldn't be able to do it. Unless you're the most egotistic human being on planet Earth, you would not be able to do it. Now imagine your father watching you. Forget about it, Rabbi. Forget about it. I heard stories, people told me that their father walked in on them. They almost killed themselves. Imagine Hashem staring at you. There's nothing to imagine. He's looking at you every second. He's saying, "Hi. Hi, Max. Hi, Elad. Hi, Yosef." And you're over there doing the shtiyot. Just thinking of that embarrassment should make you want to take an action, chop off your hand at that second. To have that thought that you're in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even in the most disgusting place, if it's in the restroom, if it's in your bedroom, if it's in the wherever it can be, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there and He's saying, I'm here with you. What are you doing, Ya Habibi? What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you so bored with your life? Are you that, excuse me, are you that bored? Are you that bored that you're going to do sin? And then Hashem gives you problems, Hashem, in your life. He said, I'll take away your boredness for you. You're that bored? Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Boom, tragedy. Boom, problem. Where's it coming from? You're bored. God is fixing up your boredom. He's fixing it up for you. He's shining it for you. So the only way you're going to come to realize that, how am I going to stop? Is to always be aware that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. The Gemara Masechet Nida says there's one part of your body, the more you feed it, the more it's hungry. The less you feed it, the less you're hungry. What's the maskana of the Gemara? That's a man's yisod. The man's foundation. Why? Because when a person knows how to control himself, and this goes for also married men. This goes for everyone. A person does not know how to control himself, does not know how to control his tava, you're like an animal. You're like a dog. You're a dog. What's the difference between a human and a dog? A human has to acknowledge that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with him 24/7, and a dog cannot acknowledge that. So when you come and say, how do I stop this sin? When I was in high school, a kid, a 12th grader, told me to burn my hands. Can you imagine that? He said, take axe. That's what he told me. This guy has to do big tshuva. He said, take axe, you know the spray axe thing? He said, put axe and just light your hand. He said, you're going to light your hand, it'll be burned for a couple of days, and then like that, you'll get used to not. I was like, what's going on over here? Burning hands? No, we don't burn people's hands. We control our thoughts. As it says in Shema, Lo taturu achrei levavchem v'achrei einechem. The person has to control his heart and his eyes. When a person controls his heart, which is based on your tava, which is based on your blood, which is based on your animal instinct of doing sin, you control it. How? By your brain. By saying, enough's enough. I know a guy that doesn't want to propose to his girlfriend. You want to know why? You're going to be shocked. He said, because I know once we're going to get engaged and get married, she's not going to want to dress up so beautiful. So I'm prolonging it so I should always see her beauty. And I said, okay, now what do you do? He said, I go home, I do Zerla Matala. I was like, what? Are you crazy? They didn't get married then. But imagine to such an extent of animal behavior you have to act to reach that point. The most disgusting thing in the world. And remember one thing. You cannot feel depressed or bad about that. You cannot. It's the number one mistake people do. When people start to feel depressed, they start to reach the level of atzvut. And atzvut brings you to do more sin. A person has to come to realization that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, regardless of the sins that he did, he's still Kel Rachum. He's still he's the most merciful in the world. And he forgives you. And he loves you. And the reason why you go through certain hardships is because of one thing. He wants to help you to get out of it. A person can't be a CEO overnight. What happens if he becomes a CEO overnight? The next day the company is bankrupt. Why? Because he has no experience. He doesn't know what's going on. He needs to go up that corporate ladder in order to appreciate where he is. So this is what I wanted to talk to you small about Zer Levatala. Now everyone's suddenly in the face of depression. That you can't think that way. You have to say, Hayom Har Ta'olam. Today the world was created. Today I'm a new person. Today I'm going to stop doing this avera. Today I'm going to stop looking on websites we're not supposed to look at. Today I'm going to stop talking to girls that I don't need to talk to. And I just talk to them just to flirt with them. And just to think I'm cool. Today I'm going to pick upon myself to do Kriyat Shema Lamita. Today I'm going to pick upon myself to wear tzitzit. And anytime I should see the tzitzit outside, I should remind myself of I should not run after my physical desires. And a person that controls his physical desires ends up to be the greatest and happiest person on earth. To come to the realization how religious you might be, this test, regardless if you're married, you're not married, you're even a grandpa, this specific avera will always haunt you unless you know how to control yourself. Always. And a woman, chas v'chalila v'shalom, chas v'chalila, goes and dresses up to her utmost beauty, even if she will be married, and another man does a sin because of her, oy la miyom adin hagadol. Oy la ve'oy bana. Woe is to her and woe is to her kids. You have to understand the severity of a Baal Choteh U'Machti Rabim, someone that causes other people to sin. When you go to that, when you go to that school, that college, and you're going to take a specific class that you don't need, but you want to take it because of that specific girl, no, first of all, that you're not a man. You're not a man. And second of all, you're going to cause yourself to sin. You're going to cause yourself to sin. Why? Because you're looking for it. You don't even know it, but you're looking for it. When can I do this avera? When can I do this tava? A person has to contemplate. He has to do a cheshbon nefesh. He has to take out a piece of paper. What can I do to stop doing this avera? What can I do? Do I want to wish death upon myself, like Er and Onan? Chas v'shalom, people are saying in the background. Do I want to wish myself these problems it's gonna reflect on my family? Chas v'shalom. You know how severe this sin is? There's a custom. This custom was a custom of Yerushalayim, that a son is not allowed to go to the grave and bury his father. Can you imagine? You can't go bury your father. You want to know why? Because those kids that you created are going to say, wait a second! Hold up! He can go. We can't go? We want to greet Daddy. We want to greet him. We want to say, Zdravstvuyte, Priyoma, we arrived. Arabija, we're here, Ya Habibi. So what did the Takana was in Yerushalayim? No son's allowed to go bury his own father. Why? Daughters are allowed. Why? Because the fear that the person that just passed away, he shouldn't be getting introduced to devils when he dies. He should get introduced with family members, not with devils. To that extent, they made this custom, which they follow also in America, at least by us. Can you imagine? And we think this is a lullaby kind of story, Babaiga story. Ya Habibi, you are the creator of Babaigas. So a person has to come to realization, first of all, the only thing that can ever save us is by being positive. Second of all, to always try to use the mikveh. Mikveh is very important. Do not be Ashkenaz. Don't be a Litvak now. We don't use mikvahs. Don't be a Litvak. Don't do this nonsense. Don't do this nonsense. Even they know that it's wrong. Don't do this. Go to the mikveh. Tahara. Purify yourself. Rabbi, I don't go to mikvahs. Yeah, you go to the beach, right? You go to the beach. You swim with all people. They deuce there, they pee there, God knows what they do there. You go in it, you swimming, brother. And you taking in, you drinking it too. Yeah, Habibi. But the mikveh you can't go to, where everyone takes a shower before they go in. That you can. But to the beach you could. Or the animals take dumps there and humans take that. You have no problem swimming there. Ala aini vala rasmi, you say. You say, what a barud nefashot, you say after you come out of that beach. Why? But to go to the mikveh, you can. Nonsense. This is shtiyah. You gotta purify yourself. That's number one. Number two, what I'm about to tell you, most probably all of you get your minds blown away. Filter your phones, Rabbi Say. Filter. You see, his eyes came out like two beitzim. Filter your phones. Filter them. Don't be ashamed to be a man. You know what a man is? He knows there's an issue and he knows how to say, I have to solve it. That's a man. Go to the nearest place that you can filter your phone and filter it. Don't fall in the sin. Don't even cause yourself to fall in the sin. How many of us go on social media and why? Rabbi, I don't watch any shtiyot. I'm just on social media. You're just on social media? This is Davi Avodatuma. Snap. I mean, what is there even? Instagram. I feel like Instagram's already old for old people. TikTok. OnlyFans, one said over here. Feet Finder. I heard there's other stuff. Shh, don't tell me. People tell me new things are coming out. I'm telling you, I heard this, my hair went up. Yeah, Habibi, you gotta filter yourself. You gotta filter yourself. Would you all like if your wife would do such a thing like that? No? How would you feel, God forbid? Rabbi? Where's the knife, right? Where's the knife? Right? For her, it's not allowed. And for you, it is. Why? He said yes. No, I know what he's gonna say, and I have an answer for it because someone told me the same thing today. Shh. Go ahead. Because you're the man, and you can do whatever you want. Interesting. Explain yourself. Shh, please, focus. I need utterly silence.
Honestly, I wasn't paying attention when you said that.
Okay, so I'll say it again. Can I say it again?
Yes,
You should know something actually. Rabib is the only guy, and I have to do tshuva. I'm going to do tshuva in front of everyone. He was the only guy that got a racket thrown in between his eye and his nose. There are very few people that really knew how to get to my nerves. But he, even though he got that racket, you don't understand. He was such a respect. He shut his mouth and he said, Rabbi, I'm sorry. He's told me sorry. He said, Rabbi, I'm sorry, I'm going back to class. For that, I have to ask Mechila. Many years passed since then. I really apologize for that. But I see it made you a mensch a little bit. I think I straightened out the nose, actually. Stop. This is what I said. You know what the beauty? I was speaking to Rabbi Kleiman the other day. Listen to the beauty. I don't suggest this to anyone. Maybe I shouldn't even say it on camera, but I'm going to say it anyways. He asked me, he said, how come the kids that got it from you, they're somehow still in touch with you? How is that possible? How is it actually the kids that got it from you the most are actually the most in touch with you? I don't know really what to answer him, but this is what I think. I love all my Talmidim so much that regardless if I'm going to burn them from head to toe, they're still going to love me. That's what I feel. I didn't allow, maybe besides the two Gruzinis, but I love them too. I think we made up. I don't think I allowed anyone that ever left our yeshiva to have this sense of feeling that you're not wanted. Everyone that came through our yeshiva, or went through me at least, forget that. I don't care about that. I want them to remember and to know, and even the guys that come to the shiurim that I met a year back, 2 years back, they tell me things that their own rebbeim, that they're close with, they wouldn't even tell them. They said, we don't really trust them. Because I love you. Be'emet, I do. And I tell you where it comes from. It comes from the fact of realizing that we're all interconnected. If something bad happens to you, it happens to me too. It does. Until I don't come to that realization, I will never feel it. And that's the greatest thing in chinuch. The greatest thing in being a disciplinary, to work in a school, to be a father, is to remember this fact. That I'm not doing it out of hate. I'm not doing it out of anger. I'm doing it out of love. And sometimes love has to be tough. And look, Oda, Baruch Hashem. Now here, let's get back to the topic. I don't think I'm going to pose you. That's the point. Here's the topic. You ready? How come it's not allowed for a woman to have an OnlyFans account or to, God forbid, do an Avera, and for a man in this society, they think that it's no problem for them?
I don't think a man can do it either.
Suddenly you change your mind. Ashrecha
I didn't
v'tov
hear the
lach.
question.
Okay.
I thought you said a woman can not only be with one man, but a man could be...
No, I didn't talk about that. Torah says that's allowed, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Even though that's something we don't do nowadays, Baruch Hashem. But you agree on that concept?
Well, that a woman...
That the same way how a woman, it's not allowed for her to do certain sins, it's also not allowed for a man.
No.
Explain yourself.
A woman can only do one partner, right? She can't have multiple...
I'm not talking about marriage, I'm talking about before marriage. Before marriage.
Yeah, I guess it's the same.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Ask, baby, ask, my love.
Before you were talking about how they were married when
Wow, you are actually meditating for that long? Ya Habibi, I have to take classes from you.
I was gonna say when you were.
They were married.
Oh, they were married.
Yes,
I
they
thought
were.
They were doing before marriage.
No, they were married.
Okay.
See how I knew his question before he asked? They were married, and they did the sin while they were married. That's why I said this specific class is also for married men. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's this new thing going around. What's the new thing? For a woman, it's downgrading. For a man, it's upgrading. Man gets experience, becomes a man. He knows what to do. Ha 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 hoo. And for a woman, it's like, you've been around the block. There's this concept. Like I think 90% of you guys are thinking about that. Don't lie. Let's be honest. Let's be men. It's a men conversation. Let's be honest. People should know that these questions and these concepts run down in our brain. And I'm gonna debunk this right now. In just being logical. Zirkle, you with me? Don't fall asleep on me. Can I ask you a question? Do you think it's fair? To compare?
No, because
Okay.
a man has the duties as a man, what he's supposed to do, and a woman has to do what she's supposed to do.
Okay. Now I'm gonna make my question more. I'm gonna explain my question more because I don't think you understood. Is it okay for a man to compare his wife to any other woman?
No.
You know what happens the second you sleep with a woman before marriage? You automatically start comparing. If you get married
in general.
with anyone, even the spouse you're about to marry, how come before marriage you were like this and now you're like that? That you will tell her to her face. But how about if you were with so many other girls, and in your brain what you're thinking? Did I make the right choice? Tell me. Is that what you want to run through your brain when you're married?
It's gonna happen regardless.
It won't, and I'll tell you why. You ready to hear why? Because if I never experienced it, I can just imagine. I cannot tell you factually. When someone actually experiences it, he can tell you factually. And he can only compare on emotions and not on physicality. That's the difference. When you, Lamaisa, were never with another human being, never with another human being, and you get married, you don't really know what's up. But when you already, chas v'chalila, did the sin, and you get married, ya habibi, the Yetzer Hara plays with you on a different level. You just hit the Olympics before you even went to practice. Why? Because he knows how to get to you. He knows how to say to you, wow, not what I was thinking. You know what kind of shalom bayit problem that causes? Kal v'chomer, a woman. And why kal v'chomer, a woman? I'll tell you. They made a study. A woman gets emotionally attached. A man gets physically attached. To replace something physical is much easier than to replace something emotional. When a woman runs through men like she's running through water, she loses the sense of an emotional attachment. So when she wants to start settling down, it's almost impossible to get emotionally attached to the guy. Compared to a man, he can eventually easier attach himself. But he'll have a hard time mentally with this comparing. And that's the severity of a person doing the sin before they get married. But I'm a man, Rabbi. I'm a man. No one's gonna know. You're gonna know. And you're gonna haunt yourself for the rest of your life. Why? Because you did it to yourself. And I know people today that tell me this and they're married. And they say, Rabbi, chatiti aviti pashati. So the next time a person comes to this test, and you know what? We have this test. And in this generation, it's so easy. I'm going to use the language. To get laid, it's beyond even understanding. It's easier to do that sin than to pack a luggage to travel to a Shabbaton. So a person has to come to realization, what destruction am I causing myself if I'm going to do this sin? What destruction am I going to do to myself? Forget about my spouse, that you're married and you're cheating on her. Imagine, you're married to her, you're being with her, and you're still cheating on her. How? Because it's all in the head. So what is HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually telling you? He's telling you, you want to play God, you want to create a human being? Then you have to be God. How do you be God? Have utmost love to the person that you're with. And that you can't do unless you get married. So you come to me and say, Rabbi, why do you preach to get married in such a young age? And the answer is because when you're young, you can still mold yourself properly to that person. But when you're older, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. To be too picky is the worst thing in the world. No one is 100%. Adam Rishon, which was created by God Himself, wasn't 100%. You think everyone else walking on the street is 100%? You're funny. No, they're not. Because if you look deep down in yourselves, unfortunately, you're also not 100%. You're in a Beit Knesset. Do you understand? With this, I'm going to finish this specific topic and say, the first couple of weeks are extremely difficult. After a month or two, if you do it properly, it doesn't even pop into your brain. But as long as you don't have any social media, because the second you swipe and you see someone not tzanua, the test is all over again. So be smart and be wise. Take care of yourself before you take care of your Yetzer Hara. Put a filter on your phone. This doesn't make you fanatic. And what it makes you? Loyal. It allows you to be loyal to who you're about to get married. And I promise to you, if she's going to find out you have a filter, she's going to get a filter. Because loyalty goes both ways. It doesn't go one way. So you want the best future? You got to first fix this and this. You can't wait for someone else to fix it, then you'll fix it. This has nothing to do with being fanatic. This has to do with having proper derech eretz for the people around you. Have a good night.